Love is our true divine nature, and our heart serves as the intersection of the spiritual and physical, connecting our soul with our body as the conduit for anchoring our divinity onto the earth plane. Embodying our divinity is the key to our ascension and to manifesting our highest destiny in this life. The teachings of the heart are alchemy. Join spiritual mentor and channel Jennifer Spohr each week on a sacred journey to lift the veil to remembering your divinity and meet other beautiful souls who are living the path of the awakened heart. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the show. And today it really just warms my heart so much. And that's the best way I can describe it, because I just recently connected with these amazing souls, and I'm so happy to be here with them and to share their amazing work and mission with you today. And so I'm here to welcome Rocio, Aquino, and Angel Orengo to the show today. They are the dynamic husband and wife duo behind the Orchid, the secret code of modern goddesses, a Los Angeles Tribune bestseller, and a reader's favorite five-star book that is igniting a movement of self-discovery, healing, and empowerment worldwide. Welcome.
Wow, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here, Jennifer. Thank you.
Hello,
Yes.
Jennifer, and hello, Path of the Awakened Heart. We're so delighted to be here.
Yes, so delighted to have you. And I know that our listeners are just going to really just drink in, our conversation today. So I'm excited. I'd love for you both really to share with us how what led you to this path, to where you are today and the creation of your book. Because as we all know, right? Waking up, using that term, to deeper truths about why we're here, that's really just the first step of a journey, right? Of devotion to this kind of path. So I'd love for you to share with us more about your journey.
I thank you so much. I'm gonna go first, only to try to explain that in the outside, Angel and I, we met many years ago, 25 years ago. And in that process, before I met him, I was the normal person who lives in sadness and with shame and with whatever you can imagine, because my family grew up in that way of thinking. So at one point when my mother died, I was 20 and she was 48. Really, what took me out of the depression, of the sadness, the difficulty, was really to understand all these phrases that you see. Today is the best day of your day, is the first day of your life. And you begin to do that and to follow. So little by little, after we were together, I met Angel. Many things happened, but I don't gonna focus in that. I'm gonna focus in after living in Miami for 70 years, then we moved to Hong Kong in 6 years, and then you begin to, when you are there, you begin to see another cultures and how they live and the possibilities, the way they thinking, and it's incredible to see the similarities. After that, I have a big problem with somebody and I need to find forgiveness. How do you forgive? So this was my key to enter to this beautiful and amazing path. And it's like, how do you forgive? And people in general cannot tell you the steps, number one, number two, number three, to really understand. So at one point, we move forward. We moved from Hong Kong to London. And in London, of course, I'm searching to forgive. And was until I found out LA and we did a master in spiritual psychology, and we read more than 200 books, that really I was experience forgiveness. And I begin to have the words to really describe how you forgive and what are the steps. And in that moment, because I was feeling for first time like oh my God, I'm another person. We need to share this with the world, how to do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And Angel is like, yes, let's do it. So my initial idea was let's do a TV show because we came from that world. And then tell me.
And at that moment, it was, yeah, but who are we, right? Even though we come from that world, people will say, well, how many shows have you done before, right? The typical questions that people ask. And so at that moment, we said, why don't we write a book? And of course, then that took us to, but who's going to read a self-help book about us? Who are we? Again, the same question. And so at that moment, the decision was write a story, tell a story. And through that story, teach whoever picks up that book everything you've learned.
Yes.
And that's what brought us here.
It is really beautiful and very beautifully articulated as well, because that's really, I feel guided to share. It's like I always envisioned the collective of humanity as this tremendous giant quilt where it has about, 8 billion or so threads, but each thread is a different, unique color, one of a kind, right? But they're all also interwoven together. And that's how I look at each of our journeys as well. It's like, of course, you're sharing this journey, right? Because that's how we are wired essentially as creator beings, and we're also wired to be interconnected. And so it's through sharing each of our wisdom and our own journeys with each other that we evolve, truly.
Is the collective consciousness
Yes.
that we are helping. Today, I was telling this to somebody in a conversation that the place where I was growing is like those crabs who are inside of a bucket. And at one point, when a crab wants to leave, the other crab is trained to grab the crab again inside. So I think what we are doing with this kind of conversation is we are helping each other to go out of the bucket. So the conversation, the book, different experience, what is your piece of the puzzle? And together is how we can really help us to go to the next level.
Absolutely.
It's something I would add to that, Jennifer, is that we get so confused with the way we live our lives. We think it's me, 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 me. But because we're not whole ourselves, because we haven't taken care of our open wounds. When we see someone else succeed, we, instead of being inspired, we become jealous. And it's no way, I've been working so hard. And what we learned, and this was the secret of our transformation. When each one of us individually, not even collectively, became the better version of ourselves, everything changed. All of a sudden, the way we related to each other was magical. The best it's been in 25 years. The way we were relating to our daughters started to change as well and became better. And all of a sudden, when you are whole, when you feel really good about yourself, that's when you start to care about the collective consciousness. Because you say, well, how can I not share this with other people? This is really awesome. And there's enough to go around. And that's when the transformation really does happen.
Absolutely. I mean, you are completely speaking my language, my love language. I'm so just thrilled that we're here.
Look.
Oh, I love that. I'm just so thrilled that we're here and connected in this space together. It's just a love fest.
Yes.
But it's so true what you just said. I talk about that often in pretty much every context of conversations that I have. In that, because there's so many people that are feeling overwhelmed, and understandably so, with everything that's happening in the world right now, right? But it really is through shifting within ourselves, right? And remembering deeper truths and really falling in love again with ourselves. That's how we create the ripple effect, the change and the impact that we talk about wanting to make in the world. It all starts with us.
You know, this is very simple, but has been a change for me, a game changer, is who decides? Me. When? Now. So that gives me my power back for really begin to create another experience. So I grew up in a household and culture that showed me to focus and less than. And now what I've been doing is little by little changing my focus to I'm enough, I'm decide, I can do it. And this is the invitation that we are doing through the book for more people to understand how to do it. Because that's the beauty that we did. We put so many stories that they are so real that give inspiration for anyone that is reading it. And is helping to create bridges with ourselves and bridges with somebody else. Like, let's talk about our limiting beliefs and for what reason we think the way we think, and to begin to understand how energy moves us.
Yeah, and it is fundamental for us to have the willingness to go into sacred review, right? Which is the term that I'm feeling called to use in all aspects of our being, to have the willing to face that in order to really truly evolve. And I love that you bring up the how to part of the journey, because that is what I feel has been really missing up to this point in spiritual community, in a lot of spiritual communities, in the personal development industry, self-help industry as a whole, right? Because as humans, we're really cute and we're really good at, you know, absorbing knowledge and learning and taking information in, but really the greater part of the journey is how do you take that and integrate that knowledge, that remembrance into an embodied way of living.
Mm.
You know, that's really the magic. Earlier in our conversation, you had referenced forgiveness on your journey, and I'd like to go back to that. I'd really love for you to share with us more deeply, if you're open to doing so. Do you remember any one moment or a period of time on your journey where you actually palpably in your body started to feel that shift in forgiveness?
Of course, yesterday, for example,
Yeah.
I had a beautiful conversation with my daughter, and I remember I'm a normal person who has been imperfect, and I grew up with all the limitations that my parents told me. So at one point when she was very young, I hit her the way they did that to me. So finally I saw that I need to ask for forgiveness, because the shame and guilt that I was carrying was really, really holding me back without me knowing. So at one point, having these conversations, open heart to open heart, and has been like this evolution. I finally forgive my mother for hitting me, and I was asking for forgiveness to my daughter for doing the same thing. So in that moment, in my body, left me that guilt. In the moment that she said, yes, of course, mommy, I forgive you. And I was using some of the tools that we put in the book, the Hawaiian Ho'oponopono, I'm sorry, please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. And I begin to say it until really I was reaching to that little girl that I inflict pain. So in that moment was a liberation between my daughter, myself, my mother who passed away, and my lineage. So that energy doesn't gonna bother me anymore for the future, what I want to create.
Witnessing you in that. That's
Yes.
very profound. So often we can tend to, even acknowledging awareness, conscious awareness that happened, right? Uh, or, we can confuse true embodied forgiveness with just the knowing and the intention that we forgive, right? But we may not be fully shifted within that. So that's why I wanted to bring it up, because it's so important to understand the difference between having the awareness of that and the desire to forgive and to be forgiven versus actually feeling that shift happening in your body.
The way that we describe it is like when you really, yesterday, I caught another string that was holding me back for this beautiful experience, the human experience. So it's so important to go and see it and see face to face the shame and the guilt and let that go. Doesn't define us anymore. And it's so I'm not a victim. Wow, that is powerful. So imagine that combination between who decides me, when, now. So you are like a collecting that no one is, I don't gonna wait for anyone. I'm gonna do it myself. So it's really give me clarity.
Yeah. Yes. Profound and very beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Feeling guided to ask you both about, so something else that I speak of often is the importance of really knowing what your truth feels like in your body in navigating your journey. Because I mean, pretty much everything, almost everything externally around us, right? Societal cultures, ancestral stuff, um, teaches us that we need to conform, excuse me, to a certain way of being, right? And living and showing up in the world. And what many are more and more people are waking up to every day in this world is that a lot of it is false. And so something I speak of often is the importance of being anchored into what that truth feels like for you and using that as the basis from which to make all of your decisions in your life. Um, what does that feel like for you guys? Like, what does your truth feel like for you?
There's a number of ways to approach that. I found my power when I aligned myself fully in 4 points: my thoughts, my words, my emotions, and my actions. Now, for anyone who's more advanced listening, those are also chakras, right? And energetic points. But I'm going to stick only to sort of the real world.
Mm-hmm.
When I realized that often we walk this land thinking one thing, saying another, acting a different way, all of a sudden you become this dispersed, sort of chaotic energy firing in all directions.
Mm-hmm.
And what does that do? It limits you, it debilitates you, it distracts you. But all of a sudden, and another way in which we use to describe it is the sunlight, the rays of sunshine shine on us every day. But get a magnifying glass
Mm-hmm.
and concentrate them, and they become fire.
Mhm.
That's the energy that we're talking about. So for me, when I aligned and I was no longer lying and saying and acting and feeling differently, but all of a sudden everything is somewhat in some form of congruence,
Mm-hmm.
that it's real for Angel and maybe different for Jennifer, maybe different for Rocio, but in alignment, you find power. Now, there's another way in which we've learned also, and we're not advanced in it, but we've seen people who use it quite well, and we use it sometimes, is muscle testing,
Mm-hmm.
right? When you use your muscles, it is said that the wisdom in your body, it's so profound, it's so ancestral, that if you put something next to you, be it a word, a sentence, an intention, or even a thing, your body will tell you, because of the way it behaves, whether that thing is good for you or not good for you. Some people don't even need to put that thing next to them because they have intuition. But how often, Jennifer, have we been told, ignore those feelings, right? Unless you can be sure, unless it's proven, et cetera, ignore it. So we have not been truth to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And so find out what it is for you, listener. What is the thing that tells you, I have a hunch. And that may be a hunch in your mind, that may be a hunch in your stomach. That may be muscle testing, where you push that little hand down and see how weak or strong it is to that idea or to that thing. And all of a sudden, you begin to really have a connection with yourself that is about the trust in the intelligence and the insight and intuition that it's inside of you. We have found those to be true. And sometimes we wake up and it's, yeah, that doesn't feel right. But often we ignore those. We now pay more attention to those that we used to in the past. We talk about them. Sometimes we journal about them. When you open yourself up to that wisdom that already exists within you,
Mm-hmm.
you gain back your power, and all of a sudden you become more and more aligned in the path that you're supposed to be walking or pursuing.
Absolutely, yeah. And I feel like I kind of vaguely brushed on this or referenced this, but yeah, one of the greatest challenges we face is transcending those perceived constructs, right? Like even taking language is a great example. We could literally have a whole episode dedicated to talking about the inversion of language and
Yes,
and words, because with many words we've been taught. Change is a great one, for example, right? The word change, many people are taught that change is something to fear and change is like a bad thing, but it's literally the opposite of that. So,
yes,
yeah, just and especially in the climate that we're in, the great transformation that as a collective we're experiencing, it's so important, as you said, right, to have different ways and to know that that is unique for each of us, right? But to be tuned into whatever that is for you, to use that as the basis with which to make your decisions and move forward. And as a reminder that I know everyone listening knows, but you really can't say it too many times, is, you know, understand that you are paving your own path here to a certain extent, right? Some maybe more so than others, but everyone is on their own unique path. And that, especially right now, amidst all the shifts that are happening, the importance of not ignoring that voice, consciously following that voice, even if and when it is different than what everyone else is doing, even if it's different than what the entire world is doing.
and we need that voice. We need the original because every person is unique. Even though we are 8 billions,
Mhm.
everything depends where you were born, the time, and the place. So no one is in the same coordinates at the same time with you. So that's incredible. And I want to add that for me, what something has helped me to see my compass even more precise is a triangle that I do with trust, eh, justice, and righteousness. So in that help me for me to be more honest with me. So is and the connection, of course, between the left brain, right brain, heart, right brain, left brain, heart, because it's those triangles who they do the Merkaba, and I put myself inside really when I meditate. And it's helping me to really let go all the energies that at one point can be really sucking off from my for my ideas or something like that. It's like I need to transform that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. I would love for both of you to share with us just more about the birth of this amazing book that you've created.
Yes, Angel and I, we've been very blessed. And Jennifer, everything that happened in our life was only for us to be where we are today. So we are taking care of this beautiful message for the divine feminine. And is how we can expand this energy more and more in the world.
Mhm.
So that is the energy of the book. So it's like we are the custodians. And at one point, Angel, he was married, and I was the 5 women. He, because he had cleared the knowledge, and I, because I need to pass all those process for him to witness that is possible, the change, the let go, the forgiveness. And when you focus all your attention to you, to know yourself, in that moment, the transformation is really possible. And if for me take me longer, but somebody else taking 5 minutes, that is incredible. So the book was born from that necessity of this knowledge to continue to be expressed in the world.
Mhm. What is something from the book that may be coming forward for you, one or both of you, intuitively right now that you're feeling guided?
I love your question, and I want to going back to you. Can you put your hand in the body, in the
Mhm. Mhm.
book, and open the page that you like
Okay.
and read it?
I did this earlier too, actually, before we started our conversation. I love to do this with books. It's so fun. Yeah. Okay, so I opened the book to page 135, and in the top right corner it says awareness. And the paragraph I went to starts with Nicole disregarded Tina's last words. Her mind was fixated on the word acceptance.
This particular chapter is, well, for the audience, the book is the story of 5 women who go to this retreat center called the Orchid.
The best spa in the world.
It's kind of like the best spa and retreat center in the world. It's a bubble of love, a container of acceptance and non-judgment, in which, in this case, women, but it's really for all humans, women go and all of a sudden, because they're face to face with that love, now find the freedom, the strength, and the joy of going inside to those dark places that we've shut down, we've put away, those boxes we don't want to ever open again because they were so hurtful, so traumatic.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden, they now feel empowered to go in and say, I'm going to deal with that issue, whatever and however that presents itself. You heard an example from Rocio earlier and how she went back with our daughter yesterday and dealt with something that happened 15 years ago. That Rocio speaks to it as, I remember exactly the day that I hit her and I was feeling guilty. So guilt and shame is an energy that stays with us and blocks us.
Yeah.
So in this particular chapter of the book, we're speaking about awareness, which is the first lesson, is just become aware, observe yourself. Very, very important. Observe yourself is not judge yourself. Do not judge it, just observe it. When you observe it, you can then very neutrally ask, do I want to change that? Because I don't like it that much anymore. Or it was good for me before, or it was never good for me, but I've never really done anything about it. So the observance and the awareness is really critical and the foundation for any change. And in this particular case, the women had just seen this chart that we have in page 132. We call it the spectrum of inner growth, in which we explained what we see as the 5 stages. We go from surviving, right? This is, I need to survive by any means necessary, to exploring, which is, which is what we did when we traveled. There's other ways of doing things. There's other solutions that people have employed for whatever issue, whatever challenge, whatever problem. And then this is the part we spent 3 to 4 years ago, really all of our lives, but especially during those years, learning. There's so much wisdom out there. There's wisdom through coaches. There's wisdom through classes. There's wisdom through books. Sometimes there's wisdom sitting down by a tree and just communing with nature. So when you're open to that learning process and a stage, that's why a lot of people say, be a lifelong learner. Because if you are, then the messages and the lessons arrive. If you think you know it all, then it's you know it all. It's not necessarily a bad thing, except you won't get new lessons being thrown at you and you won't see them. And from there, we pass on to the next stage, which is becoming. When you then start to integrate everything that you're learning into the person that you are or the person that you are becoming. And we've seen that, and really the transformation, Jennifer, has been just so beautiful to observe.
Oof.
Because it's not about reaching a place and now you're in this pedestal and you've made it and that's it, it's done. No, the human nature is such that it's ups and downs and challenges and opportunities and joy and sadness. But when you know your tools, when you know yourself, you can just say, today I'm sad and it's okay. But I'm not going to be sad for the rest of my life. That is not okay. I'll give it 2 days, but I'm not giving it the entire week.
Or for example, yesterday, when my daughter and I, we were fighting, for example, before the forgiveness, Angel, he was really clear that, guys, this is something that you need to fix.
Something is off here.
Something is off. But it's not his responsibility for us to go inside. So the beauty of that is that I have the tools, she has the tools, and from a place of love, we were able to really have a conversation for both to transcend and to have a different experience. So that's an example.
In a different situation, a parent or a third person says, you two, go to your rooms, right? And yes, you stop the issue, the fight, but you don't address the root of the problem. And that will just show up itself at dinner in a year from now, at Thanksgiving, which is what happens to many families, right? And so that's why it's critical to have the tools, but be willing to go into that dark place, whatever it is, with help sometimes. Sometimes alone is okay, but if you don't want to do it alone, find help. There's a lot of amazing people, coaches, etc. But do it. Don't walk away from your open wounds because they will follow you
all the time.
And they will control your life.
I love how beautifully both of you continue to articulate the path of living in curiosity and humility, which are really two of the qualities that I define as, really living with an awakened heart. It's being humble, it's being open, it's knowing that there's always more to discover, right? There's always opportunity to refine, but not from a place of lack, from a place of abundance and expansion.
How beautiful.
We have seen that and probably can point to that very same thing, Jennifer, as the element, the situation, or the key that has transformed the way in which we're living,
Yeah.
without a doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. In closing, I'd love for you both to share anything else that's intuitively coming forward for you.
Yeah. The most important is understand energy and have a lot of fun. We came here to enjoy this experience. So
Yes.
let's have fun.
Yes, we forget that sometimes, right? It can be so serious sometimes.
I know it's like no, we need to go and see the difficulty. No, believe me, now is let's laugh at the stupidity of us to cling to that sadness for longer. Is no, let's drop it, cheer each other, and then continue really because we are not in I don't know how long I'm gonna be here, so I'm gonna enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
And look, I will say, I'd like to say that we wrote the book. We were inspired by something much greater than us to put down this book. And we also did it in a collective effort where we hired a poet, we hired a ghostwriter. We knew that this message, and like as we're doing now, it's not Angel's message or Rocio's or even Jennifer's, it's our collective, right? We all have this distinct and special voices that when they shine and when they're shouted from a place of true love and true centering, they become so powerful. And so I would invite whoever is listening, give the book a chance. Read it. It's told as a beautiful story. And you go along on a journey of these 5 women. And at the end, it ends up being 6 people who experienced it because you come along with them. The moment that I found the energy within, and I realized that I am in control of my life, all of it. And it all begins with what's in the heart. And it all begins with, there's this saying that says the universe doesn't give you, God, the universe, spirit, doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you are. So what are you? You who are listening, what are you? Do you walk in love? Do you walk in acceptance? Are you kind?
Do you trust?
Do you trust? Or are you always looking to see who's going to cheat you? Because the universe says you're always looking for people who are going to cheat you. So what am I going to give you? I'm going to give you people that are going to give you that experience. So the moment we realize that our thoughts and our emotions are what sets the path for us to walk in, that's when really you begin to see those changes in your life. And so that's the call.
Absolutely. And that isn't necessarily new knowledge, right? Out in the world.
That's right.
And again, going back to part of our earlier conversation, we can tend to hear something, right? But we're hearing it from our mind, not our heart. And so we're kind of like checking it off the list. Okay, well, yeah, I've heard that before, but are you hearing it with your heart? Are you hearing it with your truth? Are you hearing it in your body?
That's absolutely right.
This is knowledge who has been here for 40,000
years.
So, well, let's use it. Let's access to the energy of miracles. Really, let's let's focus on all the things that are possible for us to create. From that place, it's going to be a pleasure to be in the presence of anyone. So let's cheer up anyone who is trying, and really is how we can really expand to the best version. We need the person who puts the seed, and we need the persons who take the fruit. All. So the path is not the same for everyone. So it's okay. Doesn't matter. Enjoy the ride.
Yes. And it's very exciting because we're barely scratching the surface.
I know.
There's
I
so
have
much.
so much hope.
Yes. Yes, so much. What a blessing. What a beautiful transmission today. And for those who are feeling called to connect with you further, where is the best place for them to go?
Yeah.
The best place is go to our website. There you will find all the information about us, the book, events, etc. And is theorchidbook.com, theorchidbook.com. You can find links to buy the book, but really it's a one stop for all the information you need.
Wonderful. And we'll have those links included for everyone in the show notes as well. Thank you both again. So blessed, so honored to be in this beautiful space with you today. And I love that little red heart.
Yes, it's soft.
Sending you both love. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Path of the Awakened Heart. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts or pathoftheawakenedheart.com so you never miss an episode. To learn more about living with an awakened heart and navigating your ascension journey, visit me at jenniferspore.com.